Hi guys, and welcome back for what is our follow-up on our caterpillars. Now before I show you where we are in their process of their lives, I'm going to talk about their process that got them here. So first of all, we're going to talk about the egg. So here we have a model of a butterfly egg. Now this one is huge compared to the actual size of a butterfly egg. A butterfly egg is about the size of a pinhead. They are so small. And they're laid on a leaf of a plant, and they stick on with one of the ends, just like that. Now their eggs all look slightly different, but this one's stripy. Now, once the caterpillar hatches, it will feed on that plant, on what's known as the host plant. Our second stage, the caterpillar. Now we've seen our caterpillars when they arrived at my house, they were already hatched from their egg, and they're about the size of a grain of rice. So really small. And then they hatched, and all they then do for the next couple of weeks is eat and eat and eat and eat. And if you think about our story of the very hungry caterpillar, that's all he did was eat and eat and eat and eat. Now, in order for them to grow, what they'll actually do is they'll shed their skin. Now that might sound painful to you and I, but actually it doesn't hurt them at all, and it's what they need to do because they have a thing called an exoskeleton. So you and I and everyone that we know have our skeleton on the inside of our body, and all of our muscles and our organs fit on and around that. But most insects are completely different. They're quite the opposite. As I said, they have a thing called an exoskeleton, which means everything's inside their skeleton, which is the outside, which is their skin. And in order for them to grow, they need to shed that skin and grow bigger. So a caterpillar will do that around 4 or 5 times in their lifetime. And they literally just unzip and wiggle out of it. So as they come to the end of this stage, and that might take 2, maybe 3 weeks, they'll crawl up a plant, and they'll find somewhere high, or they'll crawl underneath something, and they'll form something. They'll form what's known as a chrysalis. The chrysalis. So as I said, the caterpillar will crawl up and hang off a branch or under a leaf or climb under something that's low down, and it will shed its skin for the last time. But this time, instead of a caterpillar coming out, a bigger caterpillar, a hard shell will come out, and it will be attached to the leaf by a little silk button that it's woven and made out of its bottom. Now it will stick there and it will hang there just like that. See if I can do it, just like this. And it'll be there for about a week. Now, whilst it's here, if we were to disturb it or a predator was to come along, it would attempt to worry the predator or frighten the predator by shaking, just like that. And then the predator will be, oh, what's that? And go away. But as I said, it will stay there in about a week. And then eventually, about here, it will split open and out will emerge the adult butterfly. And here's my beautiful painted lady. Now, as the butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, her wings, or his wings, will be really crinkled and crumpled up, like some paper. And then what she'll do, or he'll do, is they'll hang facing up, and they'll rock from side to side. And while they're doing that, what they're doing is they're pumping what's known as hemoglobin, which is a type of blood. We have hemoglobin in our blood as well, down the veins. If you look under here, down the veins of their wings. And what that does, it's just like blowing up a balloon or blowing up a dinghy or something. And you go blowing up like that. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pump the hemoglobin down their wings. Now after this, what you might find is a brand new butterfly will drip off a little bit of red stuff. And that means that all of the insides are all cleaned. And it means that our butterfly is very healthy, which is good. That's what we want to see. Now looking underneath, this little coiled up thing, I don't think you can see it particularly well, there we go, is actually what's called a proboscis. And basically it's a tongue. And when the butterfly first comes out, it kind of has 2 tongues. And it doesn't want 2 tongues, it wants 1 tongue. So what it will do, these 2 things need to fuse together, need to join together. So it will sit there and it will unroll them and roll them back in and unroll them, and eventually they'll fuse together and it will just roll in and out. And that's basically a straw. So the butterfly can stick that into the flower and drink the nectar. And then it will fly on, and that's the food of a butterfly. So if you want to attract butterflies into your garden, having lots and lots of beautiful, colourful flowers is one way of doing it. And another way of doing it is having a brightly coloured dish And what you could do is you could take a sponge and soak that in some sugar water. And that's just water that's got sugar in it. And then mix it up and stick the sponge in it and put it out in the garden on a colourful plate, because the colourful plate looks like a flower. And also the butterfly can smell the sugar and comes down and eats that, just like that. And another thing you could do on a colourful plate is lay down some pieces of apple or some fruit, and you'll see what comes to see that. You might find you get some birds as well, and that'd be lovely for you as well. So not only you get your butterflies, but you also get your birds. So very quickly, let's recap. First we have the egg that's laid on a leaf by a butterfly on a host plant. Then out of the egg will hatch a very hungry caterpillar. And he's going to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. Then he's going to crawl up to a leaf, attach himself by his bottom by a little silk button, and make a chrysalis. And inside the chrysalis, he's going to completely change, or she's going to completely change into this new creature. And what I find really fascinating about it is that inside that chrysalis, that caterpillar completely turns to liquid. There's nothing, you couldn't open it up and say, oh, that's this part and that's that part. It's completely liquid. That's really clever. And that is a process called metamorphosis. And after that, we have our wonderful butterfly. Now, there are literally hundreds of different species of butterflies. And as I said, this one is a painted lady. And hopefully, our caterpillars are going to hatch into beautiful, healthy, painted ladies. Now I think it's time for us to meet our friends from last time.
And there we have our beautiful chrysalis, guys. Our little friends have gone through all that process of changing and growing and shedding their skin 4 or 5 times, climbing up to the top and attaching themselves with a little silk button. So some of you have noticed that there's only 2 attached to the top. Now for some reason, the other guys, they didn't attach on as strong as these 2 here. We've got one that's lying down here on the floor, one that's round there, and one that's actually underneath there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these guys home very carefully, and I'm going to transfer them into their habitat, where they're going to hatch into their beautiful butterflies.